Hey Quest.
How you doing, bro?
Good. How about you?
Real good.
So, first of all, congratulations on your commitment to play at Sacred Heart University, Division One basketball. That's incredible. Everyone's so proud of you. Um, that's great. I was so happy to see that.
Thank you. Appreciate that for real. Thank you.
So how you been holding up during the quarantine?
Good. I mean, I just been home mostly, except for the time I like get a workout in here and there. But
Right.
I've been good with the family. Everybody's home. Everybody's healthy. So I'm doing well. How yourself?
Pretty good. Yeah, just hanging in and started this, and it's been going pretty well. So
I think it's good to it's good that you are doing it. So just to get into where everybody else see how they're doing.
yeah, yeah, it's been a lot of fun and talking to people that have something to say or that I wouldn't normally talk to, and it's been great. So, what have the workouts been like during the quarantine for you? Like, what's
I can't I don't have like a lot of access to like an actual gym right now, so I just been in my backyard with my
hmm
brother, just making sure I'm sharp on everything else, and then like I recently just started working with this trainer. His name's Tim.
hmm
So like we just been doing a lot of stuff, just like body weight stuff, just stuff that's gonna keep me prepared. So when I get back, it's not like I've been like sitting around for so long.
right? Yeah, that's awesome. So, I remember the first time I met you. I think well, at first, I think the first time I met you, I was just watching you play. But then when I actually got to meet you one time, um, we were on a court somewhere doing like a scrimmage. I don't know if it was for like bowl travel. We were scrimmaging against each other, or maybe like some summer league or something like that. But I get on the court, I come off the bench, and I just hear I got Tucker, and I look, and it's you, and I'm like, oh no, this is not going to go well for me. And I think that lasted like a minute, and then you realized that I was not the best player on the court, and you probably should be guarding that person who is. So I was so grateful when someone else switched on to me, and I did not have to deal with that. But yeah.
When I was thinking like for low like when we used to have those like workouts for low travel, I was just like when I was young, I didn't really even want to guard like the best people like that. So I was just like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with my second guard, so I just look good because I was young. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we those days were so much fun back then playing travel and stuff.
Mm.
Um so I remember back when like you guys would have games before us sometimes or like be on practice and before us before we would go on. You were on the first team and I was on the second team and like I just remember watching you play and it was such a great mixture and I know you've only gotten better since. Especially like watching you at Lowell High and stuff. It's like your first year there. Your year there before you switched.
Yeah.
And like it's such a good mix of like natural athleticism, like basketball IQ, just like intelligence in general. Like you just play in like a way that like I've rarely seen at like it just seemed like so much better than like everyone else that I got to see and it, like
Mhm.
throughout the years. And it's just like it was just incredible to watch you play. Um so when did you start playing basketball? When's the first time you picked up the ball?
When I first came to America, I was 4 when I first came. I moved from Liberia.
Oh
Um,
wow, I did not know that.
2004, yeah. We lived in a two house apartment, 2-story apartment. My younger cousin Terrell, you remember Terrell, right?
I think so.
Yeah, he went to Brooks. Yeah, my younger cousin Terrell lived downstairs. I lived upstairs, and I was like heavy into like soccer because like in Africa we really don't even really play. We didn't play
Right.
basketball at that time. Basketball wasn't that popular. But
hmm
like my cousin Terrell, all he did was play basketball. So like I knew if I wanted to just hang with him, I had to get good at basketball. So we used to play in the backyard for like hours. So I
hmm
want to say like it was like when I was 5, I really started playing basketball. So I've been playing basketball since I was 5.
And was it like love at first sight? As soon as you started, you just couldn't
To be
stop.
honest, it really was like
Yeah.
because like it just felt right. Like when you know when something feels right when something sticks. So and then
Yeah.
like I just fell in love with like a lot of basketball players at the time, and it was like yeah, this what I got to be doing.
Who were some of your favorite players growing up watching?
Even to this day, my favorite player to watch was like Steve Nash. Like I love Steve Nash, and it's crazy.
Animal.
Like a lot of people don't even know how good Steve Nash is. Like he does everything. Like when you were talking about like the basketball IQ and like just the feel for the game. Like I think I got
hmm
Nash because like That's
Man,
like
what an amazing passer, floor general, everything. Yeah.
straight up. Yeah. Like he does
Um,
everything on the court, he does it.
yeah, absolute wizard. So who would you say are like your biggest role models? Like, whether it be in basketball or in life that you look up to or like have helped you along the way to like get you to this point where you are now.
Mhm. I think over time, like my role models became like less like celebrities and more like the people that were like in my life.
Hmm.
Cause it's just like I had a better feeling because like I had a connection with them straight like right away. So
Definitely.
I think a lot of my coaches like early on it was this coach that invited me to play for BBC. His name's Jamal Griffin. So like I call him Coach Jamal. So
Hmm.
one of my friends, his name's Alex Brown. He lives out in California now. He works with music industry, but like him, Coach Jamal, because a lot of them they just instilled in me like just what being a man outside of basketball was like.
Right.
How basketball is going to teach you like life lessons that you can carry after basketball, and they helped me understand like the basketball is not just like the only thing that you have to do. Like, because a lot of people they feel like they have to be so like stuck in basketball, or stuck in sports when it's like really there's so much more that you can do with
Right.
the basketball that you have. Yeah.
Um, so like, what role would you say that like your family had throughout your athletic career? Like, support from like parents or siblings or.
I say a lot. It was more like a spiritual role, and
Mhm.
I can't thank them enough because they really instilled in me like what it meant to like follow God as you're trying to do what you want to do in this life, and like what it means to like follow God and like trust God that God was gonna do everything that you need Him to do and more for you. So like
Well,
that's the role they really played, to be
yeah.
honest.
So I was going to ask you about that. So on your Instagram, like I think it was like a few weeks ago now, you posted this testimony that, and I watched the whole thing and I found it really inspiring. And you told us like this very cool like story about like this this moment that you had while you were like, at church, I think,
Mm,
or you were praying, and
yeah.
how it impacted your decision process for what school you were going to end up going to. Could you elaborate and like tell a story for people that may not have seen it?
Yeah, that moment was crazy. So like literally like my whole life I've always been Christian, but like it wasn't until like the last like beginning of the year I really started like walking with God, because like Christianity, a lot of people see it as like a religion, but it's more like a relationship, like what you have with God. Like people like to see it as like this like do's and don'ts, like do this, do this, do this, but it's like God's gonna like God treats everybody different, and he just has a set of standard rules that he wants everybody to follow, but he's gonna treat you different. Like it's like having a relationship with a friend or a girlfriend. Like
Mm-hmm.
relationship standards are like respect, like have loyalty, and all those are the same with God. But at the same time, if I have a relationship with my friend, we have different like things that we do, like different things that are good and just in between us.
Right. So like how you treat your best friend is different than how you treat someone you just meet and
Right.
like stuff like that, right?
Right, just like that. And God's the same. God like it's called conviction. Like God is gonna convict you differently. He's gonna convict me differently than how he's gonna convict you because he knows we're two different people.
Right.
So like over time, I really began to learn that, and it's like I removed the religion piece from Christianity and just focused on the relationship.
Right.
Then my cousin, her name's Ernestine. I call her Poopy. My cousin
Hmm.
like, just invited me to church and the thing about me, like I would never shut off anybody who wants to pray or who wants to like invite me to church. So she invited
Right.
me to come to church that day, and we were just praying. And like she's like, I was like, I really wasn't like focused in the prayer at first, but she was like, whatever you have on your mind, whatever it is, just give it to God. Just talk about it with God, because when you're praying, it's just conversation. It doesn't have to be like set standard prayers that you have to give to God. It's just conversation.
Hmm.
So it's like whatever it is, just have a conversation with God. And it was like after she said that, like I found it easier to just talk to him, and just like I found myself at the altar and I was like praying, and like literally like what I was getting in my head and what God was saying to me was like, if you're gonna take this walk with me, I need you to be 100%, and you can't be 50-50, which is like a lot of people like we like to call it lukewarm Christians who are like in and out of really what God's trying to say to them.
Right.
And so like he was just telling me I can't be 50-50, and I was like praying, like real tears was coming out of my eyes. And as soon as I was done praying, I opened my eyes, like I look in front of me, it was like a tissue box, and right on it read 100%. So I knew it was like God giving me like signs everywhere.
Right. So when you say you heard God, was this something that was like in your mind, you just felt like this
Yeah,
message come to you?
like we all like one thing that God gives us all is like the Holy Spirit within us. So and that Holy Spirit within us is like the way we can like have conversation with God, the way
Got
we
you.
can use like what God like says to us to really move forward in life, walking with God, like to really walk
Hmm.
what He's trying to tell you. So like it's just the Holy Spirit. Like once you really try, like once you really decide to like let God like be the person in your life, be that person in your life, you'll be able to like hear Him through the Holy Spirit through your head. So it's hard to really explain because everybody hears God differently.
Right.
So I can only explain it for myself. Somebody else can explain it for themselves, for themselves. But everybody hears God differently. But we all have that Holy Spirit that talks to us, which is God.
Right. So do you think that that comes with the mindset of like you have to really like submit yourself and be open to this in order to receive it?
Yeah. Like you really do. Like in order to like I said, we all have that Holy Spirit. But when you're doing things that's like not of God, and when you don't accept God fully, and you're only like halfway Christian, you're not gonna be able to hear God as much as He wants you to hear Him.
Right.
So like to really be able to understand Him and hear Him, you have to be 100% in, like He was trying to tell me that day. Like
And
you have to be 100% in.
have you noticed that since you went 100% in, you've been hearing more and seeing more things that you would not have before?
Like every day, like literally, like when I wake up in the morning, I have like whenever I have a prayer session with God, like I literally just sit there until like He tells me what it is He wants me to work on, like whether it's forgiveness, whether it's apologizing to anything,
Hmm.
like I've been able to hear Him more and more because I spend more time talking to Him.
Right.
Like which I didn't really do when I was like halfway in with Him. Like once you like find yourself walking with God completely, you find yourself talking to Him more, so He has a way to speak to you more.
And then on your testimony on your Instagram, you were saying how like you had trust and faith that if you just waited, like good things would come for you. And you were talking about like the kind of offers that you thought you were gonna get at first, you had to wait a little bit longer for, and then this really opened you up to like waiting for the right timing, and then it came. Could you like expand on that?
Like the Bible says, the Bible says like all good things come to those who are patient, who wait for God, who walk with God.
Hmm.
So it was like I put in because I knew like I myself and God knew I put in like a lot of work. So
Hmm.
when we put in a lot of work, like when we do things, like we do things with expectations, like and God is trying to say like do things because you love to do things, like do things because I give you the heart to do things. So like He was kind of teaching me in that time, like although things aren't going right for you right now, but just do it because you love to do it. Do it because like that's what I put in you to do.
Right.
So it was like it was kind of testing my patience a lot. And in that time, because like I said, I was putting like the work in for real, like really putting the hours in for real. And
Definitely.
I can't really emphasize on it because like I don't really like to talk about like the type of work I put in, but
Right.
like I said, I was really putting it in. And like over time, when I saw like that those opportunities weren't coming, like the offers weren't coming, it was like it was like hurting me. Like to be honest, like I had plenty of nights where it was just killing me. And
Hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, God still woke me up every day, and He just gave me more motivation to keep working. So I just used it as that.
And then the offer from Sacred Heart came, and
I
the
knew
rest is history.
I knew it was God. I knew it was God's blessing. I knew that's where I had to go because just like 2 days before, not even 2 days, like a day before, I was about to settle like for a D2 because like I was so content with just like if this is what I have right now, I'm gonna take it, and I know my work ethic, so I'm gonna work my way up. Like
Right.
I know how much I work, so I'm gonna work my way up. But
Definitely.
like the thing about it is I didn't even understand that my coaches, like the many coaches I had, like literally they all came together and they were pulling strings for me in the background. And I just took that as like God working in the background. Like when God works for us, we don't really see it, but it all comes together at the end of the day. We just have to trust that He's doing it. So like my coaches weren't like telling me a lot of information, but they were all pulling strings for me in the background. And it just so happened that the Sacred Heart coach called me the day after I was about to make a crazy decision that thank God I didn't make. And thank
Hmm.
my mom who helped me, like who told me just wait, just be patient, trust God that He's gonna come through for you.
Definitely.
Like yeah, it was just God. It was just God pulling strings for me in the background that I didn't even see. And that's
That's
what
awesome.
before you go on, and that's really what faith is. Like faith is like trusting what you can't see. I got this tattoo. It says walk by faith, not by sight. And it's just like trusting what you can't see, but knowing that God's gonna make it work out for you because you trust Him pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so this was obviously a huge decision. Another huge decision was when you were at Lowell High and you decided to transfer and reclass into Worcester Academy. But before we get into Worcester Academy, I just want to talk about like some of the memories that you have at playing for Lowell High for that one year, because I know that my audience is going to want to hear about that. And
It was still the most fun year of my life. Like I still
right,
say to this day, like it was the most fun I ever had.
yeah,
Like I was not even worried about nothing. Like we were freshmen. Like we obviously thought like we had like a heavy load in school, but like at the end of the day, you think about it, we didn't really have that much to do. Like life was
right.
just kind of simple. And then basketball was just mad fun that year. It
That
was
was such a fun team to watch too. I can't even imagine being with them every day
every single
playing.
day I talk about that team, bro. Crazy.
You had Sean Bryan, absolute animal.
Bro, we get to talking about it. It was myself, Alex, Sean, we had Eddie.
Oh my God.
I forget about Tim. We had and CD. Oh my gosh,
Such a fun team.
that team was crazy. And the memories from that team were even crazier.
Yeah. I remember like just being in the stands, and like it was like playoff time. We had packed stands. Like school spirit was at like 110%.
Like
And
it was like sold out crowds, like for real.
and there'd be chants every time you did something. He's a freshman.
I be telling people that chant right there would take you from like Seth Curry to Steph Curry in a second. Like you really transform into somebody else. As soon as you hear that, you be feeling some type of way.
So like when that pressure comes on, you feel yourself elevate to that level.
It was like it was like at first I felt a lot of pressure, but it was like I had teammates who were like gonna go through the same thing, like who were gonna go through it with me, like who were gonna go
right
war with me. So it took all that pressure off. And like I had teammates who were really like my brothers, so I didn't feel any pressure at all.
right.
I knew even if I messed up, the next day in practice they were gonna give me the ball right back and say, "Go do what you got to do." So it was like, no.
And it must be a really special feeling, because like when you're like even like before that, when you're like playing in like middle school, right? The only people that really come to watch are like, besides like middle school games, I guess, like when you were playing for the daily and stuff, then you have like classmates and friends that come to watch it. But like when before that, you really only have like family members and like teammates, family members in the stands. But then when you get to play at like the high school level, where you have like a lot of people coming to watch you play and cheering for you, saying your name,
Crazy.
it must be like the most incredible feeling.
It's a different feeling. It's a different feeling, for real. I always thought year being the most fun year of my life, to be honest. Go ahead.
And then the decision to transfer, how did that come into play? Was this something that you always kind of knew was coming, or was it something that was like really hard to decide? And what made you choose Worcester?
I kind of already knew it was coming, because even like the year before I went to Lowell High, I wasn't even going to go to Lowell High at first, because my parents were like, they really seek, like they really want high education for me, and like wherever they feel like is the best education, that's where they're gonna send me.
Right.
So it's like I applied to like a lot of prep schools, but I really wanted to go to Brooks after 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't get into Brooks. So my mom was like, I just told my mom, like, I'm gonna just do a year at Lowell High and just like develop there, or like just get everything right academically there. Because I was always a good student, but at a prep level, you really gotta like buckle down for real.
Right, definitely.
So I was always a good student, but like I just told my mom, like, I'll just take a year at Lowell High. So like it was always like in the mix. I always knew it was gonna come. So that's why like after that year, I was devastated, because like I really did not expect Lowell High to be that fun. Like I was having the most fun of my life. At the same time, while getting like good grades, like real good grades. At the same time, while being mad focused.
Right.
So I didn't expect it to be so much fun, and I actually wanted to stay. Like there was a large part of me that wanted to stay, just like until my junior year, and then like do the whole reclassing thing later. But like my parents always like spoke high education into my brain, so definitely. I knew I had to go. So it was like, yeah.
And then how was that going to Worcester, like having to live there and be on a like some sort of like regular practice schedule throughout the year? Like how what was that transition like, going from one to the other, and living in that type of environment for 4 years?
I wanted to come home every day. I was like on the phone crying to my mom, like
really
every single day. Like my first couple months there were probably like the hardest. Like it's like going from like the top of the world to like the pit. Cause like I just went there, I didn't know anybody there, couldn't really relate to anybody there, and it was like hard to just adjust. But I just leaned on basketball. Like literally, like majority of my day was playing basketball because I didn't know nobody. So like even like during lunch, I was going to play basketball.
Right.
During like free time, I was going to play basketball. In the morning, I was going to play basketball. After school, we had practice. So like that's really what I did. And then my coach is like, you really can't like live like that. I mean, basketball is good, but you got to like interact with other people because I wasn't interacting with a lot of people at all.
And what were some of the things you did to like make friends and like make that a better situation for yourself?
Hmm. I don't I don't really know. I don't think it's anything specific I did because
Right.
I don't even think it's like. I mean, I don't think it's being cocky at all. I just think like people gravitate to me. Like I just like when I really like try to talk to people, I think people gravitate to me. So it was just like a matter of just going out and just talking to people, like listening.
Yeah.
Like I was just, at first I was just leaning on my basketball teammates and just having conversations with them. Then it led to me talking to more people that don't even play basketball that being performing arts.
Right.
So like it's just that I just started with like what my basketball teams were doing, who they were talking to, and then people saw like the personality I had, and I saw the personality, like the type of personality other people have. So it just led me to talking to other like different people.
Yeah, I can definitely see why, because I haven't spoken to you in such a long time. This feels like we talk every single
Bro, it
day.
feels
So
like literally it feels like we talk like all the time. But it's not even like anything like new.
yeah. So that's awesome that you were able to like overcome that original like transition. And then how was your basketball career over at Worcester?
My first year, it was. I want to say my first year was the best because it was just the most like surprising because I didn't know what to expect.
Right.
Like after those first couple months into basketball season, we took a trip to England.
Oh,
We took
wow.
a trip to England. We played in this English tournament, and I was over there like we were over there like the first couple of games. It was hard to get used to because like the playing style in Europe is so different. Like
Really? How is it different?
it's like here we play like a fast pace, but we don't even see it as a fast pace. We just see it as regular basketball. Them it's like it's way slower, and then the officiating is like just way different. Like
Are there
the
different rules, like shot clock rules and stuff that are different, or are those mainly the same?
it's like the shot clock rules are still the same. They just like more time. Like literally, like they'll play like an NBA game as a regular high school game.
Hmm.
So it was like hard to get adjusted to, but it was so fun.
Did you find that as an advantage or a disadvantage? Like if you want to go play really fast, is that something that they couldn't adjust to, or is it?
It really depends on the game and the team you're playing because a lot of teams that we played, they were like grown, like grown, like I don't want to say grown men, but like they were like older people, like we had a team with seniors, but majority of our team was younger.
Right.
We had a team with like you would think they do the high school different, but like and if we do it how we do it, it would be just juniors and seniors on that team. It's just like a
Right.
grown people. So it was like if you play a team that's like slow pace, but they know how to play that slow pace like efficiently, it's gonna hurt you because they can slow your whole game down, slow your whole rhythm down. But if you play a team that doesn't know really how to play that slow pace efficiently, and you can speed them up, then it works in your favor.
Wasn't it like I think it was the San Antonio Spurs would do that to teams and they
Bro,
would slow them down.
really like young teams or any team that are fast, they'll like slow them down, make them play a pace that's like annoying, and they get so frustrated playing that slow pace. That's what it is. When you're used to playing a fast pace, you get so frustrated when you have to play a slow
Right.
pace. Yeah.
And how so at the end of your high school career, looking back, would you say you have any regrets, or actually, what would you say are your high moments? Let's focus on the positive. What would you say are like your high moments?
A lot of my high moments, like that trip in England, like that's a real high moment for me. Like I would say my first entire year at Low High, that's a high moment. That trip to England was a very high moment because I think I was playing like the best basketball I played at that time. Like I was playing way better than I even played at Low High, and that's where I met like one of my best friends in Josh. Like because we played his team, ended up beating his team. Then our coach recruited him to come to our school the next year. So yeah, so that's a high moment because I met him, play basketball at Low High. That's a high moment. My junior year because that's when I started really transitioning and like working on my game like outside of what I was already good at.
Right.
Like that's really when I started like really blossoming, like becoming like the player I am right now. And then my senior year because like even though it was like a really low moment, looking back on it, it was necessary because like what it did for me with God. So that's
Right. Definitely. So what would you say what are the aspects of your game that that you just said like during your junior year that you tried to focus and improve things that you like maybe like weren't your best skills. Like what are some of those things that you worked on, and how did you like implement that into games and like your play style?
The thing about me is like I always had like the IQ and like the ability to like interact with my teammates, and I like a lot of people tell me like you play so like unselfishly, like sometimes you really need to like focus on your game so you can open things up for your teammates, because now teams have to focus on you because they know how good you are.
Right.
So it was like I really started working on my individual game, like floaters, shooting, things like that. Like started getting a bit better at the free throw line. So when I get there, I'm a threat at the free throw line too. So it's like I just started putting all those things together so like I can try to make my game a lot more well-rounded.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One of the things I was wondering if you wanted to comment on it is these recent protests that have been going on, and I don't know, like if you don't want to, I can just cut this right out in the interview and we can pretend like I never asked. But
For sure.
okay, so if you want to make a comment on it, I actually went to the Boston protest yesterday, and it was a really like it was a really cool moment. I went with one of my friends, and one of the best moments I think that I experienced was when we walked underneath like the hospital. The nurses that have been like working like this whole time while we've been quarantined on like fighting this virus, they actually came out and lined up along the windows and were like clapping in support of the movement and all this stuff. And that was like a really touching moment because it's like
that's a real good moment. That's a touching moment. Sure.
And yeah, I just looked around and I was like, wow, I feel like this is a huge part of history right now that like I'm gonna like.
It is like I think people, the fact that because of people are in it, so they don't really look at it like that, but it's a huge part of history.
Yeah. And so yeah, anything you want to say about like the movement, the protest, or what happened in Minneapolis?
I mean, I'm definitely against like police brutality and racism for sure.
Definitely.
And I'm not even against like people like rioting or like looting. I don't like, I kind of detached like my feelings from it, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge anybody for how they want to do things and how they go about how they do things.
Right.
So just as I'm not going to judge the people, I mean the people who are looting the Targets, looting the stores, I'm not even going to judge the police officer that was putting his knee on him, because if I'm judging him, it makes me just like them. Right. If I'm judging them, trying to put a negative connotation on them, it makes me just like them. So I just accept the fact that I'm not accepting the fact that racism needs to stop, that racism is real. I'm like, no, how do I want to put that? I'm not accepting the fact that racism is not real. Like, I'm not accepting the fact that it's right that he did that.
Right.
But I'm not even gonna condemn them or judge them, because as a Christian, like my Christianity faith is before everything.
Right.
Like before anything. Like literally before anything. Like
so
before everything.
So you're coming from the mindset that like God will judge in the end.
Bro, like that exactly. That's like, we're all gonna have to stand face to face with God, like at the end of the day. So like, and I'm gonna like leave the judging, leave the condemning to God. In the time, like God still gives us the feelings that we have, but I'm just gonna leave it to God. So right now, I'm just like praying, and I'm not even against like protesting, because I think I'm gonna go to a protest like next time they have one. I'm definitely go out there and like just pray. Like literally, like me and my friends are just talking about like going out to the protest to pray, because like you will see people going out to the protest like marching, rioting, this, that, and the third, or just screaming. But like, I mean, with me and my faith, I'm gonna go to the protest to show my support. But in my support, I'm gonna make sure my support is Christian based. I can't even talk Christian based before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go there to pray. Go there to just pray on people. Like I've been trying to sign petitions, just trying to put everything, like put information out there, and just trying to educate myself on the situation. But it's really a dark time that we're going through right now.
Definitely, especially with the combined dark time of the coronavirus and all the type of stress that adds to the situation too.
Right. And I think people need to, like, as much as you want to like be up to date on everything, people need to like remove themselves from social media sometime in their day, because you don't want your mind to consume that stuff for so long.
Right.
When it's just like what you put into your mind is what you produce. What you put into your body is what you produce.
It's like they say, you are what you eat. It's like your thoughts are what you read too.
Like you eat junk food, you're gonna get fat. You read about negativity all day. You read about killing all day. You play shooting games all day. You're gonna go out and possibly want to do the same thing. So it's just like feed yourself the right things. That's what,
Right.
and that's really what the Bible's been like teaching me a lot. Like feed yourself the right things. Like I
Um,
I would advocate for the Bible and like forever. Like the Bible is literally like it's like our life today, but literally what it was like 500 years ago, like or like 600 years ago. It literally speaks into our life today, but it's written like so long ago. It's crazy. It's
and
crazy.
I know you have a lot of like a lot of your mentality and the way you act and think is Christian based, but and this actually might be a part of it too. But have you ever looked into like manifestation or the law of attraction and how that works too? Are you familiar with that?
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so basically what it is, and I'm reading a book on it right now, and it's pretty interesting. And you're touching on a lot of the stuff that this also applies to. And it's like how everyone is born with like a mission or like
Right.
maybe not a mission, but like I guess you would say a mission or like a reason. And
Yeah.
like and once you like some people get distracted or turned away from it, and then once they realize like what it is and what it is that they were put here to do, and like they have trust in like the universe that like this is like this is their reason for being here, and like what they were like put here for. And like once you realize that and you think about it and you put into action and words and into your mind that you have this goal that you have to achieve, or you have this message that you have to spread, the universe will basically align to help you do that. Because once you submit yourself to the universe, and I think this is more like the like this might be the more like umbrella like Christianity or
Yeah.
religion in general, like the core messages that all religions have,
I
where
don't,
like
I don't yeah. I
once you
don't think
submit
I like
yourself.
really I don't think I really align myself with like the law of attraction, things like that. Is but what it's saying is like what Christianity is saying.
Exactly.
Like we're all on this earth for a purpose. Like we all have to do like we all put on this earth to do something that God wants us to do. And that's how I feel. I'm not I would never force my Christianity on anybody. I would never force my beliefs on anybody. But how I feel is like we're all put on this earth to do something.
Right.
So it's like once you really like lock in for me, this is for me. Like once you really lock in with God, he's gonna be able to reveal to you what that purpose is, why he put you on the earth, and he's gonna put things in line for you to go and achieve that goal, achieve that purpose that he put you there to do. So like when you talk about like knowing that knowing that you put in the universe for a reason, and then like getting aligned with getting the alignment through the universe, like it's just me having that faith in God and knowing that God's gonna put everything in line.
Exactly. Yeah. It's yeah. When you were saying it, I was like, this is exactly like what I'm reading about. It's just some people will put that faith in God, and some people who may not believe in a God or something like that, they put their faith in the universe. It's more of like this universal language of like finding out, like realizing like what you're here for, and then doing everything you can to get to that point where like you're doing what you know is right for you, and like having faith that it will all work out in the end.
I think I literally it's like a spin-off on the Bible. I mean like
Yeah.
because the Bible is just so ancient, and it was like before even like the law of attraction or all that stuff came in play. So I think it's like a spin-off of the Bible. It's just like putting your faith in like the universe.
Yeah.
I guess. But I mean
Definitely. Yeah. I'm saying it's like it's such a parallel that it probably definitely takes from that and then other religions just to kind of like make it accessible for like everyone. But
that's true. I like how you put that because a lot of people they'll be so shut off if it was like Christianity or like
right.
you have to put this faith in God to do that. So they spin it off and put it in the universe to make it like accessible for others.
And I think there's a lot of stuff that turns people away from religion or Christianity or faith because they feel like if they want to be a part of it, then they have to associate with everything else that goes on. Like whether it be going to church every single Sunday, and maybe some people they really don't have the time for it, or that it's just not a way that they feel like they can connect to God, so maybe it turns them away. Or maybe some of the like older teachings that or messages that were spread throughout Christianity, and some of the problems that have come from it, from like old traditions and stuff that are no longer even practiced, and some that are like maybe people just don't agree, so it turns them away from like maybe the core messages that is trying to like put out there and have people follow. But I think like finding just like realizing that like even when you look at like every religion, it all comes down to a few like core values of just like being a good person to other people, knowing that like when you put your trust in, like good things will come for you and all stuff like that. It's kind of just like such a, like a good way to like to have at least like if even if it's not faith in God, just faith in like that like your time here is not like worthless. Like everyone is worth something, and you should be like good to other people.
Right. And like you really touched on it. It's like people, they look at it like what I say, they look at it as more religion than relationship. When like for like Christians, like it's really like it's past the religion. Like the religion is just like the surface.
Right.
Just like how the Bible, you can read the Bible on the surface and not really understand what it's telling you. So like the religion and Christianity is the surface. When you open that door and like really dive into God, then you discover the relationship. So like
yeah, and definitely
for anybody who I think is like struggling with that, I just say like just try to like remove the religion aspect from it and just like look at it as a relationship.
definitely.
Like if you read the Bible, look at what God's trying to tell you to do within yourself, like with Him, like, and then He'll start, like I said, like He'll begin to like speak to you through your Holy Spirit. Like
And yeah, I think that relationship over religion part is super important, because there are people that I'm sure like went to church growing up and never really felt that relationship because they either didn't really understand what it meant, or didn't like open themselves up to that possibility of that, or like that like understanding of like what that could really mean for them. And like once you like even I'm sure there are people who go to church every single Sunday, but maybe they don't like live what they are taught, and like finding that relationship is a huge turning point for a lot of people.
Literally, because there's a lot of people who go to church every Sunday thinking that's all it is to it. Like there's definitely people in the world who like don't go to church, whatever you want to do throughout the day. Like relationship with God is still going to church on a Sunday, but like Monday and the rest of the days you're still walking with God. It's like you're going to church every day, you're hearing God every day. So.
Definitely. And looking forward into the future, you're going to be at Sacred Heart, or barring some sort of transfer or something like that, but you'll be there next year. And have you picked a major yet?
I know I'm going to go into a business major.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I do that at UMass Lowell. I'm a business.
Either marketing or management, but one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that's what you're doing at UMass Lowell?
Yeah, so I have I think right now my only focus is entrepreneurship, but I want to switch it to a double focus, so it can be marketing and entrepreneurship. So I can continue to like I have passion for like making videos and like making content like this, and like how to like market those like efficiently. Like I have like some background like running social media accounts for like businesses and stuff. So I want to use that, but then also take it into like an entrepreneurial route. And this is kind of like how I plan to start that, like just creating content of my own, and like really like putting like building like a personal brand too, and like stuff like that, so I can like have like a lot of opportunities in the future. And so yeah,
I have a similar idea that my friends, like a couple of my friends and I, are going to be dropping in like later August. So like I can't say too much about it now.
Right. Yeah. It's like you never want to talk about like really exciting things
you want to do. You just want to let it speak for yourself when it does come.
Exactly. Like in my last podcast, I wanted to say so bad, I'm like, I got Quest coming on, but then like I'm like,
start talking about
it happens, I don't want to announce it.
Right. You be talking with your group, and it's like, damn, you get so excited, you want to talk about it, but you got to stick with it in time frame. So yeah,
exactly.
I feel you for sure.
And and as important as it is to talk about like your goals and stuff, you just don't want to publicly announce everything to everyone at once.
Until it has to be out there, you don't want to put it out there.
Right. Yeah. And what are your like passions and interests outside of basketball and your faith? Like, what are some other things you do to like pass time, or that you focus on or really are interested in?
I love music for sure. Like I've changed like the type of music I listen to over time with like walking with God, but like I love music still to this day. And I just like how people can like literally tell a whole story through music.
Definitely.
Those are the type of artists like I really gravitate to a lot.
So like more like the Coles and the Kendricks and people like that.
I mean, the Coles and the Kendricks who tell a story. I mean, yeah. Whatever.
Who else? Who would you say are your like? I'm not going to give you a rank, but who would you say you like listen to the most?
I listen like I don't listen to a lot of artists I used to listen to
Hmm.
because I don't really like hearing about. Although they're telling a story, I still don't like hearing about like the guns and the drugs,
Right.
all that stuff anymore. Like I mean, I'll admit like I used to really like be into like the Meek Mills, the J Cole's, the Kendricks. But I
Hmm.
mean like, and not even a lot, not even all of them just speak about guns. But I just listen to a message that's more like based on like how they found themselves removing themselves from that because like
Hmm.
I saved them. Today I found this artist. His name is Bizzle. He's
Hmm.
different. And I listen to this dude. His name is Molly Music. But yeah, so more artists who are Christian based, but still like telling their story how they removed themselves from how they were living before. So yeah.
Yeah. My favorite artist, Kanye West. He's
Bro, oh,
kind of.
yo, we about to talk about Kanye for sure, for sure. Let's talk. We're really gonna talk about Kanye. We're really gonna talk about Kanye.
So yeah, let's get into it because I love talking about Kanye, and I always feel like not a lot of people love talking about Kanye. So I don't
Bro,
know.
I love people who love talking about Kanye, bro. Like they really undermine Kanye so much, and it's crazy because like his artistry, his like geniusness is like is God given and it's different, like
Yeah.
different. Like even like
I
even
was gonna say, even going back to his first album, you hear like those, like his faith inspired and like all these things that like in his first few songs, like even like Through the Wire and like Jesus
crazy.
Walks
He
and
just walks, bro.
Let Me Down and like Never Let Me Down with
Crazy.
Jay Z.
The whole college dropout album is crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Like what's it called? Like I found myself like listening to Kanye just the other day, and I just saw how he, although he was like implementing like all the like the worldly things with his music, but I saw how he was trying to implement God within that. And now to see his transition into where he is now, it's like it just goes to show like where he was with it, how he was so in and out, and now he's totally.
I like to view his discography and albums as like
It's just
coming
progression,
from innocence into
bro.
the rise of the ego and then the death of the ego and like
Literally,
submitting to like
God.
whatever the world's issues are and like helping people and like getting really into like his faith and like what keeps him moving and like getting over like his demons that he had to battle throughout time. I feel like it's just so relatable to people.
Bro, he really has a life story that's like so many people can relate to. And like that's how I like I love people who tell story. Like he has a life story like he speaks for a lot of people that and a lot of people can relate to his music and it's just crazy. And
Yeah.
the way he puts his music together is even crazier. Oh
Yeah, like have you ever like I try to explain this to people because I feel like a lot of people will listen to albums, maybe they put it in shuffle or they like don't really like look at albums as like art, more of just like a collection of work. But the way he structures his albums and even like the songs in his albums and like the order of albums that he comes out with, like every song tells a story, every album tells a story.
literally like showing his progression over time, like literally his progression over time. Even like his rise and his fall, like we were saying, like because we all know that like a lot of people like when they see Kanye, they saw his big ego moments. That's it. And he shows his big ego moments, then he shows his fall, then he shows how he's back to where he needs to be with God, and it's just crazy.
I like to explain like the college dropout. You see like him like coming from like nothing or like his rise to fame basically. And then in late registration, it's like now that he's in fame, all the things that are coming to him. Graduation is like now that he's like a superstar, like this is what life is like. Like
Yeah,
now that like it goes even further, like all the glitz and the glamour, and even like in the production, you can hear it like on Flashing Lights and like all
right.
songs like that. You hear like
His production,
almost like
his
this
production.
sense of like gold and diamonds. Like it just feels like he's embraced in this. And then you go into 808s and Heartbreak after his mom dies, and it's the most like personal and like
Like
sad.
you really like get like his true emotional side on that album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's just so many good artistic choices. And then you get My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which is like a flawless album beginning to end. It's the rise. It's like I like to call it like his like descent into darkness, because the album that comes after that, Jesus, is filled with such aggression, but like also like you hear like in I Am a God, like a lot of people will hear that and be like, oh, that's blasphemy. And like even now I'm sure he would say that it's blasphemy for him
Yeah,
even to say
now,
that.
a lot of I saw this thing of like I saw this interview he was doing like in a lot of the things he said, like a lot of the type of music he put out, he's like, I mean, if it was now, I wouldn't put it out. But he says he doesn't regret it because it's still you still have to come from somewhere to get to where you.
And it's all a part of his story and his progression as a person. He wants that like publicly out there. Like you can see like the progression of like the way he thinks and the way that he acts and the way he spends his money. And like he said, like now, like when you look at the way Kanye dressed in 2010, went back when, or 2011, like in that time, back when like he was the Louis Vuitton Don and he was wearing all these chains and stuff.
Yo,
And now you see him just wearing like these dad outfits, like champion hoodies and like sweatpants and dad shoes.
like his obsession over Louis Vuitton was so crazy. And when he used to put it in his songs, it would sound so tough. Like when he was like, he's like, but my mom a person, now she Louis Vuitton mom. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like those lines just stuck out to me. It was crazy.
And he has like songs about like back when he was working at the Gap and like all this stuff. Like
Oh, what's
my dog won't stop barking. I'm sorry.
I'll fly away. That song is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then and then like once you get to Yeezus, it's like and then the Life of Pablo, this is when he finally has like a family and you can start to feel like wanting to come in touch with his faith and like the duality of that.
You really see the big difference. Like you see, I mean, it's still like him in and out, but like you really see the difference like in like the My Dark Twisted Fantasies to the Life of Pablo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really see the completely difference. It's crazy.
And then you get into Ye and Kids See Ghosts where he's in like this lost state where he knows he needs help, and then and then Cudi is like kind of acts as like that that guiding light that is like accompanying him to like say like the more emotional side of what he's feeling, because Kanye is always good at saying what he feels, but I feel like Cudi shows like that trust and like support that is like it's like almost like a representation. And then the last line of the album in I think it's called Cudi Montage. It ends with Kanye saying, "God shine your light in me, set me free." And then the next piece of work that we get is Jesus is King a year later, and it starts off with every hour, every minute, like submitting himself. He is completely with God, and I feel like a lot of like this is what I'm saying. Like from album to album, it's still a continuation of his story.
Really touched it off. Like that's literally it. See, I love people who are Kanye fans. Really good people, Kanye, because like a lot of people just try to like throw dirt on his name a lot.
Yeah, and
he
has some positions that I don't always necessarily agree with and stuff like that.
That's regular. That's life. You're not about to always.
That's life. Yeah.
But you still learn to appreciate like what he does. That's like genius stuff.
Mm-hmm. And like telling your story, no matter what it is, like you can always learn from someone. And like I don't know, like when I went through my dad being sick and losing him, I found myself listening to a lot of Kid Cudi because his dad died from cancer when he was 11 and I was 16. And then like listening to this kind of music that is like Kid Cudi talks a lot about like dealing with demons and like things that try to bring you down and like how to overcome and like coping with that and stuff like that. It's deep in his music. And then listening to that really like put me on to like that time. And I started listening to Kanye, and I like to tell people that like Cudi heals and like Kanye empowers. So like when I was feeling down, I would listen to Cudi. I'd start to feel better. I'd switch to Kanye, and it would make me like help me elevate myself and like just feeling better. And like it's like motivation almost, like his music and his story.
I know we're interviewing me, but like how do you, if you don't mind talking about it, of course.
Oh yeah, sure.
How do you think you like handled the situation with losing your dad, and how do you think you like, other than music, how do you think you like really coped with it and like really helped yourself like really return to who you are? Because I know like losing anybody, like you're gonna lose a part of you, like lose a piece of you. So I know.
Yeah. So
in that time you feel like you lost a piece of you.
My dad was like my best friend. So like
whenever I was around you guys, I could see the connection you guys had. Like you guys were really like a lot of dads, like they won't even like, but I could tell like a lot of dads, like they won't have that connection with their sons where it's like we're best friends. But I could tell you and your dad were like close in that regard.
Mm-hmm. So my dad was a teacher at Lowell High for like 33 years, and I was there for the last two. I was a freshman, and I was in the Lyceum that year. So I was in the main buildings where he was. So like in between every class, I would go and see him and like say hi and just talk about my last class or things I had coming up in the day. And we would just talk like all day. And then like he would be the one that would like bring me home from practice and bring my teammates home and stuff like that. So like he would get to like see me in times where a lot of parents don't get to see their kids, and that really like brought us together a lot. And like especially where he was a teacher and like I was dealing with school, like I could come to him about like things with school too, and that really helped too because
the outlet for sure.
and so when he started to get sick and like I started to like really like pray a lot that like God would help him get better, and like it was just sad because like the type of brain cancer he had is just like incurable at this moment in time. Like it's called glioblastoma, which is like a really bad tumor that basically like shuts down the brain like slowly. And so like it would be like at first he had like a hard time moving like just one leg, and then like it started to like come up his body and be like his arm, and then eventually like throughout the course of 10 months he became completely paralyzed and couldn't even talk, and he was just lying in a bed and needed like all kinds of assistance. And like seeing my dad go from like being like one of the like most like strongest heart like people that I knew, and like his personality even started to fade and stuff. It was like really hard to deal with. And like once he passed during that summer, it was July 20th 2017, it was like I almost like kind of like lost my faith a little bit in God, because I felt like I prayed so much that like I didn't know, like I was like I just felt so lost, like all this thing. I was like, how do I come back? Like how am I going to come back from this? Like what did we do to deserve this? That like how is, like I know God has plans, but like why is this in his plans for me and for him? Like for my dad, like he didn't deserve to end this, to see his end come this way. Like there was so much more. Like my little brother was like 11 at that time, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I found myself really like veer away from that until like, and like I fell into like a mental depression too. Like I would be late for school just because I didn't really want to go, and I'd stay in bed. And this is like during my junior year, and like I would just come to school late sometimes, and like I don't know, like it was just like a really tough time for me to like deal with stuff. Like a lot of friends that I had, like I really changed like the type of friends I had too, where like it was more people who had been through something that I felt like I could relate to more, that I would like find myself like gravitating to, and people who saw things at more of like a superficial like level. Meanwhile, like I feel like when you go through something hard, like you start to really realize like the important things in life. So like the things that I was like so focused in before, like I really felt my priorities change. And like I went to like therapy for a little bit, like where I would go see like this therapist. And I don't really tell a lot of people about this, but like it definitely helped to like speak my mind. But I think that the lack of connection, like therapists don't really talk about their own lives that much. They're more there to listen. And like I feel like talking to friends that, or people that have gone through similar things, is more like useful for me at least. And I know like therapy helps a lot of people, and it definitely makes you feel better to talk. But like I feel like when you're talking to someone that has gone through something similar or like another hardship, that really helps more. And like just talking to people like my family members and like some close friends, that really helped me like find my way.
More, they will understand better.
Right. Yeah. And like I know that when they're talking, they're not just saying like what they think someone should say. It's more like what they know they should say, and like what they feel is like the right response.
100%.
And so like then I feel like once I got to a more like clear, like level-minded place, that took like almost like the whole year. And like just that first year after losing my dad, from like July 2017 to like August 2018, was really tough. And then like my senior year, I kind of like found my place a little more, like back to how I was like before he was sick, and I felt like more myself. And like that's when I was like opening myself up to God more, because, or like God, and even more like the universe and like all these other things, where like I felt more inspired. So when I felt like more inspired and more like motivated to do things, I found myself like just knowing that like I had to get back on my path, because I had fallen off. And like I put a lot of trust into these things. And like especially like now, like the way things aligned, where like so I finished my high school, and so I finished like I graduated from Lowell High, and like I was definitely in a way better place than I was like when he was sick, and like shortly after he died, and like that year after. Yeah. And then like I don't know, it's been like a real shift for me in the past like year or so, like from when like from that time till now. Like I feel like if my I feel like that who I was my junior year is so different from who I am now, just because of like what I went through and like all the things that I realized. And yeah, so I think like like putting that faith, whether like for me, like it's a little bit of God, even though I still feel like I'm not like 100% there, like with my relationship with God yet. Like as much as I want to, like I started wearing a cross again, and like I still have the cross over my bed, and like I I don't pray as much as I used to, but you know, speaking to you and stuff, and like my mom and like she has more of a faith than I do, and my grandparents and stuff like that, like they do too. And I don't know, it's probably something I should try to get back into, because like especially like now where I'm starting like these new projects and like dealing with going to college and stuff, and like trying to find my like career path and my life path. Like I feel like that's something I should probably get more into. Now that I'm thinking about it now, and like yeah,
That's good. That's really
yeah,
good.
that was a lot.
To be honest, I was locked in. I didn't even see it as that much time, but that's really good. That's really good.
But yeah,
Like you were saying, like you touched on, like a lot of like you people who didn't go through a similar situation, like or had something really similar to like your situation, wouldn't really understand. That's why, although like therapists are really good, like they will help somewhat, but they're not like they don't help the complete way. Like so, I
right,
feel like you really have to talk. Like for me, and like what I believe, you have to talk to God, and God will put in your life the people who can really speak to you, like you say, your friends, like your family, like those people who are going through a similar situation, and like things just come
right,
around.
and
And
like
one thing I'll really say is like God doesn't do anything evil, and He doesn't put anything in your life that He doesn't think you can handle. So whatever it was, like you praying to God, showed Him that you have faith in Him. But
right,
him like in the situation you are, He's just telling you that you're ready for it, like you're prepared for it. So whatever it is, like
right.
if you trust Him, like you're not gonna fall short. You're not gonna do anything.
I think when I was at like my lowest points and stuff, I just wasn't even like really like open to like thinking about that, just because I was so like I don't want to say like dwelling, because dwelling makes it sound like you're like pitying yourself. And I guess in a way I was, but like I also had gone through something like really hard. So like I felt like justified in like
Right.
feeling that way. But like now that I feel like I'm more like I'm more of at like an elevated level where like I can look back at things, and instead of getting like I still get really emotional, but it's more like looking back at my dad, it's more like happy memories rather than like
Seeing
sadness that
good
he's
out of it.
gone.
Seeing the good out of it. Right. Right.
Right. And now that I'm in that space and I have like more of like a vision of like where I want to go forward, I feel like now would be a good time, like you said, to like really like build that relationship with God, like back to like how it used to be, like when I was like praying every single night that he would be okay. So yeah.
Before we continue, is there any way I can go get my charger? Like, can you cut? Can
Oh
you
yeah,
cut?
yeah, of course. All right. So Quest, this has been a great time talking with you, and I didn't expect things to get this deep, but it's been a great time. I hope people really listen in, because I feel like some gems were dropped during this thing, and um, I wish you like all the luck going forward. And you know, I know that you're such a hard worker, and I have like no doubts that you'll live up to everything that you aspire to in basketball and in life. Like especially the kind of person you are, and like the faith that you have. Like I just know that like good things are gonna happen to you, and I just wish you the best, and thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great time.
Sure. Wish you the best too. And when you really get into your business and your business proposals, let's talk for sure. 'Cause
Definitely. And if
I
you
love
need
to hear your ideas for sure.
anything going forward, or if you want to come on again sometime, just please reach out anytime. I'd love to help you out.
Yeah, I mean it was good that we touched up because I feel like now I'm really gonna be able to talk to you a lot more, and I think it would be good for both of us too. So yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, thank you so much. Everyone at home, please like and subscribe. It helps me out and helps get my my videos promoted more, and that'd be great. So please, if you learned something from this, or if you want to recommend to a friend, that'd be great too. And I feel like this is the best interview I've done yet. So um, yeah, you're a great guest. So thank you, Quest, so much. Everyone, take care and good night.
You too. Good night.
my diamonds, look at my drip, yeah. Ooh, I'm getting blessed, I feel like it's a dream, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I'm the man, yeah.